Okay, so the question today is, do you need a Generac SMM module, okay? Which is basically a load shed module. Now, I've got the 100 amp here on the car charger, which this thing pulls anywhere between 12 and 15,000 watts. Now, my Generac is a 22 kW unit, okay? Now, what I can't control is, my Generac is on an auto transfer switch, and so what happens is, I'll give you the example, is let's say the power knocks out thunderstorm in the middle of the night, and the car is plugged in. If this was hardwired directly into my panel, then it would possibly overload my generator because it would use 12 to 15 of that kW, and there would only be 4 or 5 left from my house, okay? And so if you have a backup generator, you know, a lot of people may put these on there. I have one on my pool also, so that my pool will only run if the generator can handle the load. Now, they call it a smart management module because it monitors hertz, which is frequency, and it monitors voltage, okay? Now, there's no wiring back to the generator. This actually just ties into the wires directly, and then you wire your load on the other side. It has a contactor on the inside that looks just like this, right? And then this is an Eaton contactor. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what happens is let's say you have a 3,600 RPM generator, and that's 60 hertz, okay? And so this can actually read the hertz through the power line, and it knows if that generator is pulling the load, or if that generator is starting to get overloaded, it can kick out the load, okay? Now in this situation, I don't ever really need this to run on the generator power, so I actually have it locked out. So when the power goes out, this actually defaults to off, and then it watches the power. When the generator fires up, it'll watch it for 5 minutes, and if the power's good, whatever I have it set to, whatever priority, this will try to apply the load. And if it's too much, it will shut the load back off, and it will continue to do that. So that's why they call it a smart management module. So it keeps your generator from getting overloaded if it auto transfers. Now, if you have a generator set that you're plugging into an umbilical, a lot of times you can go shut, you know, hot water heaters, heat strips. You can shut those breakers off and prevent that power from happening. But if you have an automatic switch and it can start at any time and load itself when the power goes out, you really need to make sure you don't overload that generator, and that's why Generac makes these SMM modules, okay? So they're very, very good modules. This one's wired in, everything works great on it, no problems there. We'll get into a little bit of the technical of the module. Okay, so they make a 50 and 100 amp. You really need to look at the spec sheet because, you know, let's say the 50 amp, if you look at the FL, and I'm just using an example, it might be 35 amps max, right? Which is good for like a 1450, 50 amp plug. But you just need to make sure that your continuous load does not exceed the contactor rating, okay? And you can look at the spec sheet, and then you can also look on the face of the contactor here. Now you will see that I have taken the Eaton contactor out of mine, and the reason is this one buzzes, and I don't really like the buzzing, and this one generates a little bit of heat and uses a little too much energy on the coil. So I prefer an Allen Bradley contactor, and I have installed a different contactor in mine. That is the part number right there, AF802200-13. This is a 4-pole, normally open, normally closed, so you can use whatever option. And you can put a relay in there and change the logic if you want, okay? So anyway, today's video is just kind of what this is. I've had a few people ask me questions why I have this box here, because I've done the EV charger and some other stuff, and just wanted to explain that. Now, the other thing I will say is an inverter generator, these will not work. So if you're planning to use these with an inverter generator, it's not gonna work. And the reason is, like I said, fixed RPM generators, it can see that 60 hertz at full RPM, 59 if it's loaded. Okay, and as you well know, with inverter generators, they can ramp up and ramp down with throttle. So it's actually DC power being created, and it's being inverted to a digital AC power. So they're always gonna show a fixed 60 hertz. So this will think it is land power if it sees inverter power. So if you're hooking up to an inverter on an auto transfer switch, these will not work for you. But if you are on a fixed RPM genset, and I've tried it on my Kubota diesel, it works perfect. It works just like it does with the Generac. It'll actually kick the load out. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching the video today. If it helped you any, please hit that like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.